From Wall Street to Main Street, this is LALATE.
It's a big evening here on Evenings LA with incredible details about your fourth stimulus check update of 2021. Today, in this recording, the president, the House members, and the senators all want you to have a fourth stimulus check. We're going to go over that monthly stimulus check, how much they want you to have, and when they want you to have it. Then we'll be going over the incredible details about the fifth stimulus that raises your benefits up a lifetime and applies a new benchmark, and why the administration is going to get $1 billion to ensure the money goes out faster with a fifth stimulus check. Oh boy. And then in the middle of the recording, we go over the thousands of dollars, $5, $10, $15, $20,000 you can get right now. It's a big evening. I'm really excited to give you all these incredible details as the president has done it, signing a major legislation to anchor fourth stimulus to the finish line. All those details and more, starting right now. Hey, good evening, everybody. How are you doing? It's a Sunday evening, and I hope you are having a beautiful, beautiful weekend. Drop in the comments where you're tuning in from and tell me how the weather is where you are. I'm in Sunday red, hoping crypto goes down tonight, and also hoping I win that golf tournament. But hope you are good. In this fourth stimulus check update of 2021 today, we'll be going over that monthly stimulus check that everyone's talking about. The president and both houses of Congress for the Democrats, how much they want and when do they want those stimulus checks to go out and who they want those stimulus checks to land with. We'll be going over all that fourth stimulus check updates in this recording. Then we'll be coming to fifth stimulus in the second half of this video that has no less than 3 breaking details, wonderful news, including raising your benefits up if you are on benefits, then applying a new benchmark that is expected to peak in December and raise your benefits up astronomically, and then the fifth stimulus check. Yes, you heard me right, fifth stimulus check. Then we cut back to the thousands of dollars you can get right now, and it starts this Monday morning. But first, subscribe. This is LA, the only 24-hour day, 7 days a week financial news channel. Live in the morning, taped in the afternoons. And coming up next is Overnight's Crypto. Stay with the show. This video will take you automatically to that hit show that last night broke all records of this channel. Also, like this video, 3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. Let's get right into the news with that monthly stimulus check from the House members and the Senate members starting right now. What do they envision and how do they envision it? Let's go over the details. The House bill provides a monthly stimulus check. The Senate proposal provides a monthly stimulus check. But they differ in the amount and the number of checks. First, the number of checks. The House bill provides a stimulus check for the remainder of the pandemic plus 1 year. The Senate proposal provides a stimulus check from now to December. Let's compare the monthly amounts. They're also different. House bill, $1,000 a month after the first month of $2,000. Senate proposal, word on the street is it's this. Wow. That is per person. Yes, per person. $2,000 a month over 6 months, $12,000. $1,400 over 6 months, $8,400 a person. Wonderful. Now, there is a next twist to the subject, which is the pandemic. The House bill provides a stimulus check for the pandemic plus 1 year, but some legislators may contend the pandemic is over. That would result in 1 year of checks, which for the House bill from Jalapal is $13,000 over 12 months. Let's compare that to the Senate, which is this over 6 months. Okay, I think you have an opinion. If you're watching the show just after 5 o'clock, jump into the live chat right now, right this moment, and vote House or Senate. House or Senate. I want to hear who you support, who you think is better, House or Senate, or both, and tell me where you're tuning in from and how's the weather. All right, let's go over everything else you need to know about this fourth stimulus check that everyone's talking about. First, who gets it? Democrats want everyone who got a third stimulus check to get the fourth stimulus check. So if you're a single individual who makes less than $75,000, you get a fourth stimulus check from the Democrats. Married couple, 150,000 or less, you get a forced stimulus check from the Democrats, double it. Household 4 or less, you get a forced stimulus check from the Democrats, quadruple it. And if you're on benefits, you get a forced stimulus check from the Democrats, SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, veterans benefits. The forced stimulus check is not taxable, so it's not income, so it's not taxable. The forced stimulus check comes monthly, does not come in waves. So don't wave at it, it won't wave back, and you will feel depressed and feel as though they shaded you. Hi, check. It's not waving back. Why is this check so rude to me? It's not a waveable check. It doesn't wave. It's a monthly stimulus check. Then the forced stimulus check is wonderful because it's the same amount for everyone. Democrats want the same stimulus check for adult dependents, minor dependents, and everyone else across the board. And then finally, the forced stimulus check would be called to a vote by the Democrats in July 4th, no later. That means that those Democrats want you to have a forced stimulus check starting the month of July, for the month of July, in the month of August, for the month of August. Everyone's talking about this forced stimulus check. I am. The president, the Democrats in the Senate, the Democrats in the House. The only people not talking about it are people not giving it to you, the GOP and the conservative media. Now, and there is the first of 3 parts of your forced stimulus check updated 2021 today. But coming up in the second part, oh boy, is it good. Biden did it. Biden signed a major legislation that anchors forced stimulus right to the finish line, that removes the provisions of forced stimulus that are no longer needed, making it easier to pass it. Oh, it's such exciting news, and I have that coming up in a second. But first, here's a preview of the second half of this video with this stimulus. This stimulus heats up by raising your benefits up a lifetime, but those benefits may go through the roof because the consumer price index that was released on Thursday. I'll explain how that number is now an indicator of how high your benefits will go in December. It's wonderful news. We'll also go over the $1 billion that is now breaking news being dedicated to the system to ensure you get your checks faster. Oh boy. And the 5th round of stimulus checks. Yes, that's coming up in a second. But now let's get back to some big moolah. Big moolah, as Sir Lauren would say. And it's coming to you right this week. Third stimulus, when it passed, I said, you're going to get a lot of money. You're going to get $5, $10, $15, $20,000. And you have been killing it. You have been killing it. Viewers have understood that third stimulus was not just a stimulus check. It was a lot of other money. Rent, utilities, mortgage assistance, homeowners utilities. We're going to go over all those details right now. So get a pen and paper ready. Or if you prefer a Crayola crown, as long as it matches my shirt, you can. Get that ready. And stay to the very end because I got a lot of money. And this is an extended evening's broadcast. It's going to run a little bit longer because there is so much breaking news, so much wonderful news about this forced stimulus. Get that pen and paper ready. We can go over all that money right now. First, important to know that each place has different eligibility. So if you reach out to one and they say no, reach out to the next. And then, how much money are we talking about here? $350 billion available for you. It's for you. Well, not all for you. What do you think this is, Powerball? No, it's not Publishers Clearinghouse. It's for you to share. It's coming back from the federal government to you. And in the case of rent, it is $5,000 approximately for rent. 4 to 6 months of rent, yes. So got that pen and paper ready? Let's go over all the details. What are the places you're going to reach out to? City Hall, City Housing Authority. County Hall, County Housing Authority. State Hall, State Housing Authority. Key word you're going to say is rent assistance because of COVID. Rent assistance because of COVID. Or mortgage assistance because of COVID. You don't use words they don't know like stimulus or sirloin. Well, unless they're a fan. Don't use words they don't know. And there you go. Congratulations to Tim and Linda who got this money. It's $5,000 for them. They got utilities money, I think. And the next pot of money, wow, you are killing it. Michael on Facebook, a private message overnight said he got money for this. He also got money for something else is coming up in a second. Another viewer said she got her money raised from $200 to $350. And then on Monday, one viewer said she got $6,000 to $7,000 for it. What is it? It's SNAP. SNAP is money for your food. It's from Department of Agriculture. It is wonderful. Your benefits are delivered from Department of Agriculture. So reach out to DOA. How much money is this money for food? It's a fortune. A family of 4 in Hawaii now gets upwards of $16,000 a year. Wow. Why so much money? Because of 2 wonderful executive orders, one from Biden, one from Trump, that go all the way to December. So go get that SNAP. Lynn Glenn got it for herself, for her son, and her mom. Gail got it as well on that viewer on Monday. And there we go. We are at the 10-minute mark, and we are killing it. $16,000 for SNAP, $5,000 for rent, and we're just getting started. Well, I got $5,000 of more money for you right now. Wow. Where is this? It's from the states. How do you get it? It's automatic. What are the details? Here you go. The federal government has identified states as overpaying you unemployment assistance due to no fault of your own, due to the state's computer errors. Those darn computers. And then they sent you extra money and then asked you to return it back, and you did. Well, the federal government has said it's your money to keep. Oh my goodness. Yes. So the federal government has ordered the states to return the money back to you. Yes. And one viewer got $5,000 from it. Thank you, computers. Thank you, mess up computers. So when you get the money, reach out to your respective state for routing times. How do you get it? Automatically to the account you have on file with that state. Which brings us to the last pot of money, and Michael got it, as he revealed to me on Facebook. Cod got it as well. Margaret got it as well. A lot of viewers. What is it? It's the refund of the unemployment assistance. Let's go over all the details. First, how much, when do you get it, how do you get it, and how to track it? First, how much? Let's say you had $9,000 of unemployment assistance. Your total tax bill in that 2020 return was $5,000, of which $4,000 was your taxes on the unemployment assistance. Congratulations. You're getting back $4,000. Next, where? Direct deposit, if that was what you used on that 2020 return, or in the mail. When? June. Can you track it? Yes, 70% of the time you can track it. Go to irs.gov, set up your username and password, put your name in there, and track it. And then you'll see tax return, check you paid, and refund check coming back. Oh my goodness, can we get better than that? We can. With the big fourth stimulus check update 2022 part 2, starting right now. Biden did it. Biden did it on Saturday and Friday by signing into law internationally a wonderful provision that anchors forced stimulus to the finish line, that removes the provisions of forced stimulus about the corporate tax rate no longer needed, making the bill easier to pass for the legislators. Wow, this is wonderful news. It is signed into law. Away we go. I'm going to explain what that is. I'm going to explain how we got up to that point. But first, let's understand where we are. 1, we're currently in the reconciliation process. 2, the reconciliation process is 9 steps. Coming up later in this video, I'll explain those 9 steps. Number 3, they will be over by July 4th. Number 4, they will be finished and approved by July 4th. Number 5, the president has talked about your stimulus checks. He likes it. The House members of the Democrats want those stimulus checks monthly. The Senate Democrats have talked about those monthly stimulus checks and want it. The broadcast media is talking about the stimulus checks. Everyone's talking about the stimulus checks except the people who aren't giving it to you. They're not talking about it for obvious reasons. So now let's go over how we got there. We got there that Friday before Memorial Day weekend, when Lena Schumer confirmed not 1, but 3 of the reports of this channel. 1, the reconciliation process had already begun. Number 2, it will be finished by July 4th. And number 4, it will be approved by July 4th. Now, what caused Schumer to make that announcement? Jalopal. Jalopal had written Schumer a letter days earlier saying, call the vote, Chuck, on the recon. What are we waiting for? But what I like was Jalopal's letter was signed by 12 House Democrats, approximately. And those 12 House Democrats are part of the 100 plus House Democrats who had written the president a letter a week earlier saying, we're going to put monthly stimulus checks into that fourth stimulus package. Wow. Now that's wonderful. Can we top that? Yes. When 7 House Democrats, in a letter that's been front page news on virtually every broadcast media, wrote the president a letter. Those 7 House Democrats wrote the president a letter saying, we're going to put monthly stimulus checks into the fourth stimulus package. Well, who are these people to say that? What do they do? Who are they? They are on the House subcommittee that's solely and exclusively responsible for writing stimulus check legislation in the United States. In the House? Yes. Did they write the first stimulus check? They did. Did they write the second? They did. Did they write the third? Did they? Yes. So now they're saying they're writing the fourth? Yes. And the language currently being marked up they represent. And they're writing a 5th stimulus check as well? They are. That's coming up late in this video. My goodness, can we top that? We can. Biden did it. On Saturday and Friday, the President of the United States signed this major legislation, but I'll explain what this legislation is by going back a little bit in time. And it starts on that Tuesday where I said I had breaking news for you on a Tuesday that was a little complicated. I need to slow it down. So let me slow it down right now. Fourth stimulus is paid for by raising the U.S. corporate tax rate. But upon announcing that, the president weeks ago said, I'm worried as your president that corporations may leave U.S. soils and move overseas, looking for a lower corporate tax rate because I'm raising their U.S. corporate taxes. It's called Race for the Bottom, looking for a lower corporate tax rate in another country and moving your operations over there. So the president had an idea. That Tuesday, he reached out to G7 countries around the globe and said, let's raise the global minimum corporate tax rate. That way businesses won't move around the world. They'll just stay where they are. It'll be the same economically for them. And those countries agreed tentatively. Well, the president then came back to insiders and said, you know what? I like this. After fourth stimulus is passed in like September, October, let me go back to those G7 countries and have them sign on the dotted line. And if they do, then I'll remove the provisions for fourth stimulus. Well, here's what happened. They just signed into law this Friday and Saturday. Oh my goodness. A month earlier, 2 months earlier, 3 months earlier? Yes. The Friday before last, I had told you that I had seen a buried news article about the president meeting with the G7 countries. Now, my job is to find buried news articles, not to just report on stuff on the front page. And I said, I don't know what this is all about. But I did say, stay tuned to Morning to LA on Saturday morning because I'll reveal when it happens. And I did. The president last Saturday, not this Saturday, but the Saturday before that, announced he had reached an agreement with those G7 countries and he was going to sign in a law in person in Europe, which he did this weekend. Oh my God. By signing this into law, he now anchors fourth stimulus right to the finish line and now can remove provisions from fourth stimulus about the corporate tax rate that are no longer needed because they're covered by this international law, making it easier for his Democratic caucus to finish and pass fourth stimulus. Wow, Biden did it. That is a big shocker. It is, and it's wonderful news. The only thing better than that is the volunteers. If you're needing help for utilities, rent, food, internet, mortgage assistance, reach out to the community page. The community page is in the description of this video. Open the description. You'll see an emoji of a house. Click that link and it'll send you over to the volunteers on the community page. They're separated from Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and they'll help you get that money if you try to reach out and get that money, can't find it. And coming up in 60 seconds, in the second half of this video, I have all the real big exciting news still about fourth stimulus, what you should anticipate for tomorrow. It's a big shocker, and why fifth stimulus suddenly came out of nowhere to be one of the big surprises of this channel with another stimulus check, a lift of your benefits, and $1 billion investment. It's heating up, and we're just getting started tonight on Evenings in LALATE. Be back in 60 seconds. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on Mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE. And the excitement continues right now on Evenings LA as the fourth stimulus is heading to the finish line. But next week, a lot of major twists. They're coming up in the second half of this video. Then we turn to fifth stimulus that'll raise your benefits up a lifetime and apply a benchmark and add in a stimulus check. Another one? Oh boy. It's a big night and it's a big Evenings LA. And in the second half of this video, we have a lot of exciting details. So first, subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. 1 year, next stop 1 million. Subscribe. I want you part of this family, the most accurate, the most informative, and the most comprehensive. Like this video. 2,000-3,000 likes and consider becoming a member. Stay with this video. It'll send you next to Overnight's Crypto coming up right after this video is over. Let's get right into that fifth stimulus with not one, but three breaking details. Wow. Number one. The president has dedicated $1 billion to the benefit system for administration of benefits to go smoother, faster, and more diligently than in the past. This is going to be to staffing and computer systems and things like that under his budget bill. This is huge if you're with me for third stimulus in the spring. You saw enough videos about Direct Express by Comerica has not done direct deposit of my third stimulus check, and it's 3 weeks late on wave number 4.2. No more of that silliness. Everyone's checks will land quickly and on time. Thank goodness. This is wonderful news. Number two, there's going to be a fifth stimulus check. Yes. So those Heaven House Democrats have said they're going to put a fifth stimulus check into the fifth stimulus package this fall. When would that stimulus check go out? I think it would go out in January of 2022 because it calls for a vote around October, November. And then you have December, which is a hard month to send out a stimulus check. We learned that last year. So likely to go out in January. Fourth stimulus for 2021, fifth stimulus for 2022. Third, the CPI. Oh boy, this was a big shocker. On Thursday, the Consumer Price Index number was released and it was jaw-dropping. What is that number for? It's for price of goods sold. Obviously, prices of goods are going up. Milk, eggs, things like that. It's for May 2021. The number compared to a year earlier, May 2020. And what did the numbers show? It showed the largest growth in 30 years in 12 months. Oh my goodness. So what does that mean for fifth stimulus? It's talking about the inflation rate. Analysts were quick to say that they think the inflation rate is growing and will reach a massive peak at the end of this year, what they call transitory or temporary, and then come down sharply. They think that this peak, this transitory temporary peak, will hit late this year and then will come off that peak very abruptly. Well, that's why we have to turn to fifth stimulus right now to understand how this helps you immensely, enormously. Fifth stimulus heats up this fall by raising up your benefits, SSI and SSDI, Social Security and Railroad benefits, with this wonderful reform. Let me explain how it works and what the details are. First, they raise your benefits up. Then they remove the asset limits. Then they apply an inflationary benchmark. They remove the income exclusion and they remove the marriage penalty. Okay, so let's go over what that means and how that calculates out. First, they'll raise your benefits up one big time under fifth stimulus. This is you. If you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, Railroad benefits, Veterans benefits, Survivor benefits, and more, you'll be raised up. Then they'll apply a benchmark. That benchmark is inflation. Now, here's what you need to know, is you want to really hope that when they first applied the first year of the benchmark in December of this year, we're at that peak on that mountain of the inflationary rise. Remember, we're going up and then we're coming down. You want to hope that peak hits right about when they apply it, because this is what's going to potentially happen if that's the way they do it. Let's say the inflation rate is generally 4% all year, but it peaks at 5%, at 10%, right when they apply your benchmark. Well, your benefits will be raised up 10% with that step up, but not just next year, lifetime. Because once they apply the benefits, your benefits step up, they never step down. So while the inflation rate will slow down next year and certainly not stay at that higher rate, your benefits will never step down. Wow, this is good news. Then they're going to remove the asset cap, dating back to a 1980s law. It says you can't stay on benefits and have more than $3,000 on hand. That hand will be cleared. Put some stimulus checks in it now. Then they're going to remove the income cap, dating back to a 1960s law that says you can't work and stay on benefits. And finally, they're going to remove the marriage penalty. Love is going to win, and you'll be able to marry your longtime love interest. No longer fear loss of benefits, and if you are married, you will no longer suffer the marriage penalty. That's wonderful news for Sandy and Rob, who reviews this channel, who will no longer fear the marriage penalty. And there you go. The incredible details about fifth stimulus. But there's so much money in third stimulus, fourth stimulus, and fifth stimulus for you to get that I can't cover even a 30 or 35-minute video. And so where do you find out all the details? From the community page. Excuse me, from becoming a member. Click the link at the top of the chat or in the pinned comment. By becoming a member, you're sent every day everything that's in the third stimulus, the fourth stimulus, and the fifth stimulus. The third stimulus has a lot of money for you, $5,000, $10,000, $15,000. And every day I'd send it from the community page, a breakdown of everything that is yours to get. $5,000, $10,000, $15,000, $20,000. Because a lot of it's automatic. It's not automatic, it's application based. And by becoming a member, you get all that information to see the money that you can get. Consider becoming a member. The link's at the top of the chat and pinned comment. Which brings us back to fourth stimulus. I'm really excited about this final third part of the fourth stimulus check update of 2021 in this video. I'll be going over the calling the vote, the fake narrative next week, and the purple push. But first, here's a personal message I want to start with, which I don't usually start on the personal message, but I want to do it right now. One of the things that I've seen since 2020 when this channel started is people want you to answer questions about what they saw somewhere else. I'm sorry, I don't own any broadcast news channels. So until you want to give me the deed to a broadcast news channel, I don't own them. So I don't have anything to do with their content. And here's what you need to know. How many broadcast news channels have told you you're entitled to SNAP benefit raises? How many broadcast news channels have told you that there is money for rent? How many broadcast news channels have told you these things? They don't. They tell you, what toys are in the store tomorrow. They run a TikTok video or something. They don't cover all the details. And people always ask me to comment on someone else's broadcast channel on your television set. I don't own those channels. So why are they not covering this? Well, why aren't they not covering the 500 other subjects that are covered on this channel? Because one, a lot of them are bad reporters. Two, it's beyond the scope of their coverage of their channel. It's too narrow of a focus. They want to be more broader. Three, it may not be the type of subject matter they want to cover. And four, they just don't know what they're doing sometimes. So sometimes they just don't want to cover because they don't know. They don't have a person on staff that knows the details. They rather cover, Dogecoin because it's just simpler for them to talk about. That's the first thing I want to cover, personal message. Second personal message I want to cover is the importance of understanding that there's two emojis on this channel that if you're a Purple Power member, you certainly see it. If you're in the live chat, you can open up and you can see the special emojis that members have. One of them is it's not bill yet, and the other one is it's not law yet. Both of the emojis are very important as we go into this next week because there's some people who are not members and not subscribers, but use these expressions to say it's not there, or it's in there, or it isn't in there, or I'm happy it's there, or I'm there. There is no there. We're not there at the there yet. So it's not bill yet. Yeah, it hasn't been formalized as a bill. It's not a law yet. It hasn't been formalized as a law. It's important for you to know, if you're new to understanding how legislation is done in this country, that you could have something that someone has written up in a bill. And you could look at it and say, I love this fourth stimulus package. I love everything about this. And then you can go away and not tune into this channel till July 30th. And then come back and say, oh, so what happened to that wonderful bill? Well, they didn't call for a vote. What do you mean they didn't call for a vote? Yeah, they didn't call for a vote. Well, but it was a wonderful bill. Well, they didn't call for a vote. So just because there's a wonderful bill there doesn't mean they can call for a vote. Happened in fall of 2020 with the Cash Act. $3,200 for adult dependents. They were supposed to get a stimulus check, retroactive stimulus checks that were unpaid from the first and second stimulus check. They wrote the bill. They introduced the bill. It was on the House floor. Did they call for a vote? No, never call for a vote. So don't get too excited that there is a bill. On the other side, don't get too excited that there isn't a bill. The reconciliation process or any legislative process involves making changes. What legislators do is that they have pens and papers. They literally, when they say marking up the bill, it means that they're literally marking up the bill. They have someone writes 10 sentences and someone else starts adding 12 more sentences. They're marking up the bill. They're all in the same party, so they all agree upon stuff, generally in the same mindset, but they're still marking it up. So even if there is no actual bill, even if you don't see something, don't think that that's a negative because they're marking it up. It's what's called an entire legislative process. They negotiate, they chat things until they get it through. And that's why I go through these 9 steps with you, because it's important for you to know that when you're here and when you're there are 2 different situations. It's not bill yet. There's a reason for that emoji, because until it's a bill, it's not a bill. It's not law yet, because even if it is a bill, doesn't mean it's going to get to the law stage. They could absolutely have everything you perfectly want in there and love it to death, and then they don't call for a vote, or they hack it apart, or they modify it. So you have to understand that's important to push. Let's go over the 9 steps from beginning to end, and those 9 steps really detail how something goes from proposal to law. In the reconciliation process, the first half are procedural. The second half are substantive. Step 1, the House calls a procedural bill vote. Step 2, the House floor calls a procedural bill vote. Step 3, the Senate calls a procedural vote. And step 4, the President signs a procedural bill into law. Time to go and do the substantive bill. This is where they're actually putting in the language that you're wondering about. Step 5, the House subcommittee writes up and votes upon the substantive law, the substantive bill. Step 6, the House votes on the substantive bill. Step 7 and 8, 2 of the most critical steps of this entire process. The Senate receives what they got from the House. Now, the Senate is very important because if the House doesn't have stimulus checks in there, the senators can amend and add them in there. If the House does have stimulus checks in there, the senators can still amend or they can leave it alone. And step 9, the president signs into the law. It's important for you to understand that you need to push purple power. And you've done a good job since morning's LALATE this morning, because last night, over a 12-hour run, there was no less than 11 tweets for you to push. 11 tweets for a channel that does millions of views a day ain't gonna cut it. It's important to understand that that shows a level of non-engagement. Elected officials want to hear from you. They want to hear your input on the situation, because even if they want to promise you X, Y, and Z, they may have second thoughts if they don't hear from you. Maybe the electorate doesn't want to have this money. Maybe they don't really want these stimulus checks. They need to hear from you. Send your personal message. So you need to go on social media. Now, since morning's LA, you've really improved. But let's do context. This channel used to have thousands of tweets from viewers in a given day, thousands of tweets. Hashtag MSC, hashtag Purple Power. Don't spend your time on Instagram saying how beautiful you love my flowers. I appreciate that. But instead of sending me a message on Instagram saying how beautiful my flowers are or how beautiful my shirt is, instead of those tweets, I'd rather have you dedicate your time tweeting elected officials. I really want you to get those fingers going. There have been some people who say, I don't use Twitter. Then use Facebook. Then use Reddit. Use Instagram. If you don't use social media, use the telephone. Pick up the phone and call them Monday morning. Talk to their staffers. Believe me, a telephone call really works. Even a letter. We are certainly early enough in the time frame for you to write a letter. I have one viewer who got all her EIDL grants approved just by writing letters. So trust me, writing letters, calling the phone helps. Hashtag MSC, hashtag Purple Power. The reason I talked about this now is because the window will close on pushing in just a few weeks. By July, it's too late to push. You don't want to push after it becomes law. Now, let's go into what you need to anticipate for next week. We're currently in the reconciliation process. The Democrats in the House, the Democrats in the Senate want you to have those monthly stimulus checks. The president wants you to have those monthly stimulus checks. He'll now be able to remove those provisions about corporate taxes, some of them, that are no longer needed because of this wonderful deal he did on Saturday. The entire process will end by July 4th. But there's going to be next week some distractions, and I want you to ignore the distractions. I've been very good since 2020 of being ahead of the story with you. I told you where the Temple of Doom was going to do something before she did it and ignore it. And she would do it and you would ignore it. I would tell you that you need to push here before that. So I've been very good at staying ahead of the ball on certain situations. I think on Monday, this is going to happen again. So I want you to be ahead of the ball on information of this. The prom creator is going to be back trying to get publicity for themselves, I believe. And they're going to start talking about things that they are doing and aren't doing or are doing and aren't doing. I want you to ignore them because the prom creators have done nothing for anyone in a year. They accept themselves. They appeared on broadcast media a gazillion times in 2020 to talk about stuff that they wanted and this and that. It was all about advancing their political careers. How much did the prom creators get you of 2020? Zero. They never got you anything. Never got anything but a lot of publicity for themselves. Appearing on broadcast media 300, 400, 700 times, enormous amount of times. Second, the protagonist and her telenovela I expect to be back from cancellation on Monday. What is she doing? Oh my goodness. The protagonista wants to advance her political career. And so she will talk about people that she's speaking to, whether it is a Republican who has quit, like Roy Blount quitting in Missouri, or Ron Portman quitting them in the Midwest, or wherever he's from. Ron Portman has literally delivered nothing for anyone in 2 years. He was the guy who wanted to cut off your unemployment assistance in the start of the pandemic. He said, you're lazy and you need to get back to work. He said that when the pandemic hit. These are people who don't give you anything. So what did she do? The protagonista, who's actually a Democrat, went to meet with these people who are out the door and try to look like she was negotiating on behalf of the president. What makes this so ridiculous is not only did she not have the support of the Democrats to negotiate for them, but she also didn't have the support of the Republicans to meet with these Republicans. And once the day went on, she issued press releases saying, I made an agreement. She hadn't made an agreement. In fact, she not only didn't make an agreement among the group, but she didn't make an agreement that represented anything from the Republican ideas and nothing from the Democratic ideas. To which both sides came out and said, she ain't representing us. Don't listen to her. Oh boy. But I fully expect her to be back on Monday talking about stuff. I fully expect Mitt Romney to be back or something. Or Pat Toomey. I fully expect that. Brush it off. Much ado about nothing. Here's what you need to know. Is the president just is coming back from Europe, getting a change of the corporate tax rate to pay for forced stimulus. And a Democrat that tries to pay for it instead by raising your gasoline at the gas tank is not working logically. This is not Joe Manchin. He has nothing to do with her messiness. This is one person. Joe Manchin has said he's in favor of the forced stimulus. All the Democrats are aligned to pass forced stimulus, and she is as well. She's just trying to grandstand. And with that, a lot to know in a big night. Forced stimulus continues its reconciliation process on Monday. I'll have big updates on Monday as well about where we're going. And fish stimulus is heating up as well, just so much in a big night. And with that, thank you for joining on a big Sunday evening. Coming up next is Overnight's Crypto. Stay with this video. It'll take you there automatically. So subscribe. I want you to be part of this family. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. Like this video, 3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power Calcino VIP. Stay informed, stay focused, and stay with LA.